Is to piss Kershaw off. Be like, about them women Oreos.
Yeah. Kershaw loves the Oreos.
It's taking on a new life. Oh my
But
gosh.
you guys beat me to it. So.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Hubert, this is going to be Leakey's last home game.
Yeah.
What has he sort of meant to the program since you've seen him? How have you seen him grow and mature as a player and person since he's been here?
Haven't had really time to think about that this is his last home game. I don't want it to end. I think my hope is everybody wants to be around good people. People that encourage you, people that put a smile on your face. In the 5 years that I've been around Leakey, 3 as an assistant and 2 as the head coach, that's what he's done for me. And that's the type of player that I want to be around and coach in person every day. And so to think that this is definitely going to be his last home game, thank you for asking me that. Now I'm starting to think about it and get emotional because I don't want it to end. He is a special player, but he's even more of a special person. And what he's done for this team, what he's done for this program and this university and this community, he doesn't understand the impact that he has because he's really quiet and he doesn't like to be in front of the camera. But what he has done is set up he's a cool dude. I'm gonna miss him a lot.
How have you seen him improve as a player? I mean, you're saying coming as a freshman. I remember him as a high school player.
Yeah.
How has he gotten better? Where has he improved? What have you seen the most jump from him as a player?
Well, it's hard to say how can you improve defensively, but I think every year that he's gotten better, on the defensive end. I think he's gotten better offensively. Obviously, being able to shoot the basketball, his ability to put the ball on the floor. He gives us another playmaker out there. Over the last 2.5 years, he's led our team in assist-to-turnover ratio. So having that versatility with his size and his athleticism. And also, I think probably the biggest thing that he's improved on is that I feel like over the last couple of years, he has settled into his role and who he is. And I think that's very difficult for a lot of players, is to realize what type of player you are and to be content, happy, and satisfied at where you are, and understanding the value of the type of player that you are and what you can bring to a team and how beneficial it is. And Leakey's gotten there. And because he's there, that's why I feel like that, he's played so well. It's because he is settled and confident and clear on his gifts and his talents and what he can bring to the table every single day.
Hubert, Leakey has talked about how Jackie Manuel really helped change his life when they first met. How have you seen it work the other way too? Have you seen Leakey change Jackie at all since you've known him?
Well, I think that's a question for Coach Manuel, but they have a special relationship that's beyond basketball, and that brings joy to my heart because I've always said that if the only thing that we're doing is coaching basketball, then we're not doing our job. It's more than just the X's and O's in basketball here. It's about relationships, and I always say that it's not a full ride. When you get a scholarship here, it's a full life ride. And so it's not just the amount of time that you spend here in North Carolina, but it's the times that you leave and you grow up and have families of your own and have careers moving forward from here, and it's the relationships that you have for the rest of your life. And Coach Manuel and Leakey have a very special relationship that they will have for the rest of their life.
You talk a lot about how great he is defensively. There are times he's been absolutely great.
Yeah.
Is he among the best you've ever seen at the college level?
I do. I do. I think he's one of the best that I've ever seen. One, because of his versatility. It's not just, I mean, he's guarded from point guards all the way down to power forwards and sometimes centers. And his ability to shut down a player, there's very few guys that I've seen since coming back as a coach, assistant, and as a head coach that's been able to do that consistently. And that's why I believe not only is his skill on the defensive end so beneficial and so great for us here, I really believe that that type of skill level alongside his improvement from shooting the ball from the outside is something that will be in the NBA next year as well.
Yeah, I talked to you last year about the NBA, and you said unless you're just a star, you have to be great at one thing, be a specialist at one thing specifically to keep you in the league. He's that good, you think, that he can stick on a roster and maybe stick around for a while?
Yeah, I do. There's only a handful of dudes, you can put Kevin Durant anywhere. The Suns now, you can put him on any team, he's gonna average 30, and he's just that type of player. Everybody else, we're role players. And one of the things that, we have talked about with the team is being a star in your role. And most of the jobs in the NBA are role player jobs, being a star in your role. And so not only can Leaky fill that role defensively and also shooting the ball from the outside, he can fill that role because he's a team player and he's a good person. And I think that means a lot. I think it means a lot to organizations and teams in the NBA.
What did he do over the past 2 years to develop into one of the best defensive players in the country? Because, obviously had the tools as a freshman, sophomore, junior, but kind of realized that potential. What specifically, how did he get there?
Well, I think the biggest thing is his health. I think the first couple of years, he missed a lot of practices and a lot of games. And so he spent more time on rehab rather than practice and preparation. And so, especially in the off season, I felt like his first 2, maybe 3 off seasons, it was all on rehab, trying to get healthy. And so over the last couple of years, he hasn't had to do that. He's had the opportunity just to work on his game, and I think it's made him the player that he is right now.
Hubert, because of Leaky's personality, and everybody's different, obviously, but do you encourage him in different ways than you might encourage like an Armando, who you can maybe just bark at? Is that?
You can bark at Leaky.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll bark back. He is. Well,
How do you try to encourage him? And what are the things you try to tell him to keep him going?
he really likes it. Well, I think everybody likes encouragement, but I think telling him and communicating to him how valuable he is and how important he is to this team. And so, that goes back to him being settled on what kind of player he is and understanding and feeling empowered that what he brings to the table is a huge benefit for us as a team and for him personally being successful. And so he's quiet around you guys, but he's not quiet in the locker room, and he's not quiet to me.
Could you see him later on in his life, perhaps becoming a coach?
I can see him be a coach, and I can also see him being a TV analyst. I really can. The time that I forced him to be on ESPN Game Day last year, he did not want to go. And so I said, okay, one of you go on there with myself and Brady, and he still didn't want to go. And so then I told him a story about myself that I have never, ever liked public speaking, that I was in speech therapy class all throughout elementary school, middle school, high school. I stuttered a lot, and so the last thing that I ever wanted to do was do public speaking and be in front of a camera. And I said, I would have never thought that I would work 7 years for ESPN and now be in front of a camera almost every day. And so I said, if I can do it, you can do it. And he went out there with me, and he was unbelievable. And so I think he can do it.
He's made 10 of his last 21 from 3. How different is your offense when he's able
A
to?
lot. It's a lot when we're making
And do you
threes.
have to kind of encourage him to be aggressive still
I
offensively?
I do. Not necessarily just shoot the ball from 3, but, also attack the basket and make plays. The dunk that he had against Florida State, I think he can do that more. As I told you before, he's a facilitator, so even if he drives in the lane, his ability to find teammates, I think he can do that really well. But I do have to force him. All the time I said, Leaky, if you're open, shoot it. Also have been encouraging him to use his size and his length to be able to score in a post. There's a number of times he'll catch the ball, and they call it the mush move, where you post up from the perimeter and you just slowly mush the defender closer to the basket and be able to score. And I really think that he could be really good at that. And a lot of times he will settle for a fadeaway jump shot. And I tell him I wish I was 6'9" and athletic. I would try to dunk everything. So I encourage him to be aggressive on the offensive end because it helps us out a lot. And when he's knocking down threes as well as everybody else, as you guys can see, it really opens up our offense.
From a style point perspective, how'd you like that dunk?
Tried to get in 3 times.
Oh, okay, my bad.
That's okay. What did you say?
I just said, from a style point perspective, how'd you like what he did the other night, that dunk?
It was nice.
He enjoyed it. We talked
I
about
did
it.
too. It was a surprise. And he hung on the rim a little bit. And I was like, get off the rim. But I don't know what it feels like to dunk that hard and to have my momentum take me a little bit and just swing. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But I love the dunk, and I was like, just let go of the rim. So.
Hubert, the COVID situation and the extra years made kind of college basketball kind of crazy the last 5 years. But on balance, you think that's been a blessing for players, obviously like Leaky and others, to get that extra year and make their, for him, it's obviously he's taken his college career to another level. Do you think so? Do you think it's been good for that group?
I do think it's been good for that group, just giving them another opportunity to be able to compete at this level. I don't know where we would be without Leaky here. And so I'm so glad that, we have an opportunity that he would have an extra year to be able to be here, to be around our players and to be in this program. And so I think it's a huge not only benefit to him, but it's also a great benefit to others that are getting an extra year to be able to compete. And it makes a difference. It's having somebody on your team that is that experienced. It just makes a difference. And it doesn't matter, somebody gave us a stat, we had a staff meeting, and they said of the top 100 recruits, there was only 17 that are averaging in double figures, and then the top 100 transfers at like 61 or 62 are averaging in double figures. So you're getting talented players that are experienced, that have been there before, and instantly make your team better.
Was it okay that it was kind of crazy in recruiting and roster management? Was that okay with you?
Well, there is, roster management. That's a part, especially for the next couple of years. I think the last group that has that extra year is the junior class, and so it does. Giving these guys a 5th year or an extra year to be able to compete at the collegiate level, it has changed recruiting. I think that's why recruits are committing earlier. I think that's a huge reason, because spots are being taken. And I think a lot of coaches and a lot of programs are understanding the value of experience in a 5th-year senior. And so they're always having a choice. Do I take a really talented incoming freshman, excuse me, or a really talented 5th-year senior that has been there before, that you don't have to start from ground zero in terms of fundamentals and how hard it is to compete and be successful at this level.
Hubert, last year, everything was new for you as a first-year head coach, and you obviously learned from that, but circumstances change, and these things every year is different. How has this season been a continuation of a learning process for you as a head coach?
Oh, it is still a learning process. I mean, I'm only in my second year. I mean, I've told you before, the number one lesson that I've learned this year, you know, as a first year, second year head coach, is that every year is different. It doesn't matter if you have the same team. You know, in regards to us, we returned 14 to 17 guys off of last year's team, and this year's team is totally different than last year's team. It's amazing. There's things that we did, there's plays that we ran last year that worked, and we tried this year with the same people, and it doesn't even work. There's things that we tried last year that just didn't click, and we tried this year, and it works. And so it is always a learning process. You know, that's the position that I love to be in. I'm not perfect. I never have thought that I know it all, and I love being in a position of listening and learning, and that's where I am right now, and that's where I will be for the continuation of my career. When I played basketball, I was always learning, and I felt like that I can always improve and get better, and that's the same way that I feel here, being the head coach here.
Got time for 2 more questions.
Last time you played Duke, you got to the line 3 times. I guess watching the film back and seeing how they defended the drives, Lively in particular, is there something maybe you noticed or implemented within these few practices to maybe attack Duke differently about, you know, getting to the line? That's obviously a pretty big part of your guys' offense.
Yeah, you know, we do. I mean, it's a huge part of our offense to, you know, I mean, 100% we want to attack the basket through post-penetration offensive rebounds. You know, guys like Derek Lively challenge that because not only is he a great shot blocker, he does a terrific job of altering shots, and he does it really well without fouling. And so we have to be persistent and still attacking the basket. We have to continue to attack the basket the same ways as we did in the first game, and also find some different ways that we can attack to make sure that we get consistent points in the paint and that we do get to the free throw line. It's just a big part of our offense. You know, our ability to get to the free throw line because we're a good free throw shooting team helps us out offensively, especially when on a particular game we're not shooting the ball as well as I want to from the perimeter.
Along those lines, Hubert, I mean, Armando obviously had a rough night at FSU the other night, and it seemed like the size that they had bothered him a little bit. I know he got in foul trouble, but Duke has the size too with Lively. I mean, what do you think is key for him to rebound from not making a shot? Because you're not gonna be able to make 14 threes every night and weather a.
I hope. That'd be great.
Chances are.
Chances are. You're right. You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you need him, obviously.
No, we need him. We need him to play well. We need him to be big. We do. You know, I think Armando's always been really good when he catches the ball closer to the basket, when he has angles and being able to score and finish. I love him in transition, being able to look for him early in deep post catches and transition, try to get him on the move, as opposed to just throwing to him on the block and letting him work. Also movement, you know, out on the perimeter as well, because it's not just him going up against one defender. They've been loading up in the lane, so it's just very difficult for him to be able to get close to the basket. And so we've looked at it, we've talked about it, we've practiced, you know, just different ways that we can get Armando established, but also there's a will and a want to also. And all great players, you know, defenses geared towards those great players. And those great players find a way to still be effective. And so whether you have this person on you or it's double teamed, it is what it is.
Right.
And you don't have to go to work. But you're right, we need them on Saturday for us to be successful against Duke.
Coach, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.